So let's continue with further reaction to the story. I'm joined now by the South African Democratic Teachers Union spokesperson, Nomusa Cembi, and Executive Director of the National Professional Teachers Organization of South Africa, Basil Manuel. Thank you for joining me, the two of you. Same question as I asked Professor Metcalf earlier. Anything surprising in the briefing?
From my side, good afternoon. Sorry, I'm not sure who's answering.
Okay, let's go with you, Basil, since you've started speaking.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to Nomusa as well. No, not really. Pleasant stuff, yes, because the number of vaccines we thought we were going to have has increased quite dramatically. We started with 500,000, we went down to 300, now we're up at 580. Pleasantly, our private school and, of course, our governing body paid staff and all the education workers, which is what we wanted from the outset, will now be included. And that is a plus. It is something that we have to embrace. Teachers have been moved to the front of the queue, and of course we've got to get them to embrace it. Insofar as the whole issue around the anxiety around the opening or the continued opening of schools is concerned, it's not surprising there either, given what our scientists are telling us and given the very calm and steadfast way that the minister has been dealing with this. So we are not surprised, and certainly we have raised some issues and we've raised the concerns, particularly about the mental health of our teachers, but we're not surprised by the decision to continue to keep schools opened and, of course, to try and mitigate the problems arising by looking at it locally and provincially.
Nomusa, how does SADTU feel about this?
I would share the same sentiment as my colleague, Mr. Manuel. We're really happy with the fact that the numbers of vaccines have been increased to this number. We are also happy with the fact that I'm sorry. Let me switch off the phone. We're also very happy with the fact that all ages will be vaccinated, because initially they had said, the department said people over 40 years and above would be vaccinated. So we are happy with the fact that everyone would be vaccinated. And on the issue of the closing and opening of schools, we are, as SADTU, we are still going to engage further on this, depending on what is happening. Yes, we know schools lost a lot of time due to the pandemic. But if we see a situation where really there is a huge spread in the pandemic, we won't hesitate to call on the department to reconsider. But at the moment, we are fine with the fact that we are going to look at issues per school or per province or per district. But if things go beyond that, we would be the first to go back to the department to say reconsider if things go out of hand.
Let me stay with you, Nomusa. How confident are you around managing of the logistics? Because that's not been very well managed when we think about the overall national program. Now we've got a finite number. We're saying 580,000 teachers. Are you confident that the logistics are in hand? What have you seen in terms of the planning?
We are confident. The logistics are being done per province. We hope that provinces will do their best to make sure that things are done properly, and we believe that because provinces started planning for this on the 4th of June when it was first announced that teachers would get the vaccines the following week. So I think provinces have had enough time to prepare and to put logistics in place to make sure that when Wednesday comes, everything will roll.
Basil, to you, how do you deal with teachers who say no?
Well, that is a problem, and of course I think with the hiccup that we had with the J&J vaccine, I think some more people fell on the doubting side because it seemed a bit sinister. However, we are out there ourselves together with SATU and the other unions. We have a joint campaign to try and convince everybody that this is an opportunity they can't miss. This is about their health and well-being, as well as those of the children and, of course, the parents at home. There are individuals that are dead set against it, and I suppose there will be some that we won't be able to convince. But us, together with the Department of Education, we're pulling out all stops. We don't have a lot of time. Nomusa's right, the logistics must be in place, but here we have a wonderful opportunity to show the rest of South Africa that this can work and give more confidence to our people that government can do things right, because sometimes we are too cynical about everything, and we hope that this is going to be one of those shining lights that says this is it, we planned it, we went through all the teething problems, and look how well it worked.
I'm glad that you've got a positive spin on that, Basil. Let me take that positivity to Nomusa. Who do you think deserves the credit for having done this relatively quickly, to realize that teachers are an important sector and should be attended to?
The union, we must commend the department for listening to us, because we've started raising this, that the fact that teachers should be prioritized. We've been raising this since last year. And it was after what the World Health Organization had said. And the unions also were backed up by the International Federation of Unions, Teacher Unions, Education International. They've assisted us, and they've also engaged with us as well as governments, not only in South Africa, to say teachers should be prioritized. So we are happy that our government has listened to the cries of teachers, and we feel that teachers will take up this. The last survey that we did as all 5 teacher unions indicated that 75% are willing to take the vaccine. This is a drastic improvement from the survey that we did earlier in the year, which showed that around 52% were willing to take the vaccine. So we can see that teachers are really keen to take the vaccine. We are aware that some may not take, but we feel the majority will take. And as unions, we are still going to work further to convince or to speak further to those who are still not sure to really reconsider and take the vaccine.
Okay, Basil, to you, the minister did say one thing that sounded a bit concerning. She said the sector is very unstable. And I think she was talking there about the fact that, nobody anticipated the pandemic. It put schooling and children in very difficult circumstances. So last year's matric was very challenging for many, many students. How does it remain unstable? What do you think she was referring to?
I think the fact that we don't have all our kids back at school in itself results in losses, etc. That is a form of instability. The fact that we have teachers who are afraid to be at school and, of course, because of their health conditions, are not there. Some 20,000 people, and that results in instability. And the fact that the schools are just not functioning as they ought to. And then it's the unknown. The unknown of COVID. We've had so many great plans, and some of them have come to naught simply because we just didn't know how this thing will turn out next. So yes, there is instability, but it doesn't mean that there hasn't been a lot of goodwill and a lot of work being done and a lot of people trying to do things. And we certainly have worked, the unions together with the department, and we've tried to make it work. But even there too, we've sometimes had hiccups. So yes, there's a measure of instability, but I think the world over is experiencing a similar instability. We have many meetings with with Education International and colleagues from other countries, and if you think we have problems, they have problems exactly the same. However, that doesn't make us feel any nicer. What it means is that we've got to work to sort out our own. And a simple thing like, if I may, online teaching. Everybody thought it would be the panacea. It would sort out every problem. But even the mink and manure schools are telling you it hasn't really worked like they thought it would. And of course, we know that in our predominantly township schools, predominantly black children have not had access. So these are the things we've got to work towards. So instability in a measure, but lots of goodwill definitely.